Okay, we know that. All right. Well, hello, everybody. It's a hot summer day here in Rhinebeck, and I'm looking at a gentleman that I am. There are so many ways that I want to interview you, and I'm just going to start. Well, I'm going to start with the music, if you don't mind, because a lot of people who listen to this are also bluegrass Americana musicaholics. So we're going to do that. And I'm looking at and talking to Michael Yonchenko, and he's my neighbor and my friend. And hello to you.
How are you?
I am fine. Um, I'm really excited because there's so many things they share that are very relevant. So I said we were going to start with music. So instead of changing that already, I'm just going to ask you. You really really love and understand, and you can say, "Hey, that's so and so on the harmonica. That's so and so. That's Bela Fleck on the banjo." So when did that start? What did you hear? How did that start?
In regards to the bluegrass and country music, or how did that start with all music?
With all music.
Um, that's a very interesting question. Um, I would say when I was about 13 or 14, I would have to, I generally would spend a lot of time alone at home in the evening. And I love to fool with my dad's hi-fi, not stereo, hi-fi.
Yeah.
And I would listen to his records or my mom's records, and uh, I actually started to like some of the music that I was hearing, which was uh, classical music. And with my mother, it was jazz and
Oh.
uh, what is the name for it? Bel canto,
Oh.
Sinatra, and
Yes.
all those characters. And uh, but the more I listened to it, the more I started hearing a lot more of what was going on around them. Uh, and I can even recall listening to uh, Frank Sinatra with, I think it was Nelson Riddle, uh, and I noticed what the trumpet player was doing, uh, with a muted trumpet. And years later, I learned that was Harry Sweets Edison from the Count Basie band,
Oh.
that Sinatra would not record without uh, Sweets
Oh.
Sweets Edison in the orchestra, and that he had license to play whatever he wanted. And giving Sweets Edison license to play something tasteful that really swings is a very smart move, because the man really could swing. And that's kind of how it started. And it, it went along, and I started noticing things like I knew a great recording of Frank Sinatra singing Night and Day.
Oh.
I really didn't know in it. I didn't know its place in the American songbook. I just knew to my ear it was a great song. And then I think it was the Four Seasons recorded it, and
Yes.
uh, I thought, wow, I'm not the only guy in the world that recognizes the song. And then I started finding out more. There was this guy Cole Porter who was, one of the greatest composers and lyricists of all time. Um, and so I was always looking for those kinds of connections. And uh,
Oh, really? And you didn't have a phone? You you didn't have a computer. You'd have to go to the library. You'd have to really
I,
meet it.
I used to cut school and go to the library at Juilliard,
Oh,
sit and listen to recordings there, and uh, I learned a lot. I learned an awful lot, and mostly what I learned was that I was developing taste, and you develop taste by listening and by knowing the history around the music. If if you have a historical context, you're going to appreciate the music so much more. And I've been that way ever since. And I always get a kick out of hearing some new recording of a really old and obscure tune, and people just assume that it's a new song. Well, no, it's not a new song, and that actually happens a lot in country music. Willie Nelson recorded "Remember Me." That's an old song and
I remember. Yes.
beautiful song, and what he did to it was just breathe new life into this classic standard ballad in country music.
Yeah.
He didn't modernize it so much as uh,
Resurrected.
well, he paid tribute the to its bones, to
Yeah.
just the very natural and intended elements of the original composition. And there's many other songs like that. Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain. Everyone, that's Willie Nelson's greatest hit. That may be, but it was pretty big for Roy Acuff too. And nobody knows that. And I have fun finding those
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
You know, most music consumers, at least in our country, don't pay nearly enough attention to musical heritage.
No.
And I think that's because most Americans have been trained, unintentionally, but they're trained to appreciate the business of music and not music.
I would agree with you. I would agree with you. And it's that concert that didn't happen the other night,
I know.
which I watched the beginning of it, and they had rap and hip hop roots, the
Hmm.
roots of it. And when you looked at it, you saw the audience and you realized the impact and the emotion and the sense of freedom. I always thought music gave me the ability to stretch my arms out and dance and whatever, and nothing else does that.
Right, right. And, you know, uh, young music consumers, young listeners today are trained that the most important thing is to be hip. You know, who cares about that?
I
It's,
know.
you know, I can listen to Rachmaninoff Piano Concerto Number Three, and the next thing I'll put on is,
John Prine.
Albert Ayler's playing Boogie Woogie on the piano,
Right, right.
and start listening for things that might connect the two, which sounds kind of ridiculous, but there might be, and the only way to find out is to listen and to feel it, to get inside the music and experience it. And that's not about buying the T-shirt and
The
you know,
hat, bumper sticker.
bumper sticker and spending an outrageous amount of money to go to a concert where the audience is so big that the artist could phone in
Yeah.
their solo and no one would know the difference. So
Yeah.
you know, I so ever since I was a kid, I regarded and listened to music in a very different way, and
That's so wonderful that you, at that age, I mean, at that age, I was listening to Shaboom. I mean,
yeah, well, so was I. I mean, I heard all that stuff.
yeah, but I didn't know to reach past that.
I didn't know to reach past it either. I didn't have any of my own records. The only ones that were in the house were my parents or my sisters, and my sister was a huge influence on me musically. When I was listening to her records, which I was absolutely forbidden from doing. Well, you know how sister and brothers are. You touch my stuff, I'll kill you.
I get you. Right.
So right away, I had to go see
Scratch them.
yeah,
At
I
that
had to
stage,
check
you
out
could,
what new records she got, and I fell in love with a guy named James Brown singing.
really?
Yeah, oh man, singing "It's a Man's World." Oh man,
Yeah.
the first concert I went to was when I was 15 or 14. It was the old Madison Square Garden, and uh,
Wow.
it was James Brown and the Famous Flames, Otis Redding, and Carla Thomas. I was in heaven. I was in absolute heaven.
You would be today, too.
Today I'd have to mortgage my house to
Right.
be able to afford a ticket for that.
Right.
And my friends they would they would tease me endlessly that I was listening to all this African American music, and their attitudes, frankly, were just out and out racist. I mean, I can remember he listens to that jigaboo music. Yeah, I do. It's pretty good stuff too.
Yeah.
Uh, uh, and that carried over with listening to jazz, and from there I began to realize, well, I shouldn't close myself off from any kind of music. I should at least make it a point to listen to it carefully before I make up my mind as to whether I like it or not. When it comes to rap and hip hop, I don't like it. I don't like it because it's not music. As spoken word goes, it's some pretty amazing stuff.
It
It's
is.
it's poetry, but it's not music. There's no timbre, there's no melody, you know. There's rhythm. There's absolutely rhythm, um, but for the most part, not exclusively, but for the most part, I believe that hip hop and rap are. This is about business. This is about making big money fast, and I don't have a problem with that. If that's what those artists want to do, they should do it. But let's not call it music. Um, let's call it what it is, which is a spoken word performance. And
I would say that's right. It's spoken word, drums. I mean, they don't even need the instruments.
no, they don't.
Powerful. They're so powerful in what they do.
The rhythms that they can lay down, doing beatbox, I believe it's called, are astonishing. I mean, that's really something. And when it's done with the poetry that they're reciting, some of it can be very, very powerful stuff. Uh, I don't like the aggression in the music. I don't like, the aggression and the hostility, and I certainly don't like the way women are portrayed in the music. and it's nice to see that finally changing.
Right.
Um, but you know, it's clearly not music, and it's clearly not a performance or a style that's intended for me. I mean, look at me. I'm a 70-year-old white guy. You know, I am the guy that they all complain about, and and I think they got good reason to complain. So I,
Well,
I,
but
I,
you speak with authority. I mean, just don't cancel it out. You require something else from music.
if they want to hear what I have to say, I'll tell them. You know, um, but the presumption is that because of my age and gender, I'm going to have certain attitudes and beliefs uh, that just aren't acceptable in their uh, what's the word their culture, and I think their complaints are absolutely legitimate. Um, I'm just not the enemy. I would prefer to see them turn the anger and hostility towards the music business and the entertainment industry than to people like me who really don't have anything to do with it.
When I think about Black performers, it's always been, from Josephine Baker and Aretha Franklin and, Lena Horne and the Green Book and, all that. It's so shocking that people that had the ability to make music, I mean, without parallel. I mean, Louis Armstrong, there was no white Louis Armstrong. Um, and why they ever had a hard time, it's, the same thing with sports. But
Well, doesn't it make sense though? They had been they had been oppressed since the first African set foot on
yes,
the shores of North America, and we have a culture that or popular culture that has a huge debt
yeah,
to pay towards African influence. It's just the way it's been for so long.
right.
Popular music in American history is all based on black performance. It's just the
Or
way
the American Indian.
it's it's
You would think.
when you start to dissect all of it, you can only logically, dispassionately, come to the conclusion that uh, we're visitors here. We don't,
Right,
you know, we don't belong here. And then we brought these other people here as slaves, and
right.
pretty much, it said once they were um, emancipated, you're on your own, but we're going to make it real hard for you.
Yeah. Um, something that you're bringing up or we're talking about right now has so much to do with weirdly bluegrass music or tap dancing. I mean, from what I understand, that people put shells or something on their feet so they could make music of some sort, that
Mhm.
they could express themselves, and that's how tap dancing came. And didn't the banjo, was it the no maybe the man, it probably was the banjo that was brought over. The sense of it came from Africa, this rounded bowl. Is that
Yes,
right?
yes. It is essentially an African instrument, and there's some French influence uh, as the instrument has evolved over time, but it's not an American instrument. It developed in the colonies, but it's all based on an instrument that comes from Africa. Um, Now we can either uh, deny that and make up all kinds of unrealistic myths, or we can embrace it. That's essentially the greatest thing about this country is that so much of our culture is a bringing together of these influences from all over the world. And I don't care how Republicans try to twist that around, there's no denying it. There is no denying it.
No, I mean,
I don't have a problem with it. Why should I have a, the music's great and I'm going to listen to it.
and I'm going to listen to it. So, so is the guitar an American instrument? No,
No, it's Spanish.
it's Spanish.
Hmm. And how did it get here? Through Mexico.
Oh,
How did Hawaii get the guitar?
I don't know.
Well, um, Queen Kamehameha, I believe. I could be wrong about who actually did this. As a gift to the president or the king of Mexico at the time, the dictator de jure of Mexico in the time,
Right.
uh, gave gave him some cattle. Or no, wait, I'm getting this backwards. The That's it. The King of Mexico gave the Queen of Hawaii some cattle as a gift. Now, Hawaiians knew nothing about how to take care of these animals, how to raise them. So he then sent over some cowboys to show them how to take care of the animals and raise them. Cowboys brought guitars.
Oh, really?
That's how Hawaiians got the guitar.
And they brought the guitars with them.
That's it. How did Mexicans get the fiddle? You
How?
know, they got them from the Germans. Mexico's been invaded by so many countries. At
Right.
some at some point, there were German businessmen, you know, trying to make big money in the 19th century in Mexico. They brought a lot of fiddles with them, and that is the heart of uh, mariachi music. It's the fiddle,
Oh, I never
not
realized.
the guitar, fiddle, and it's pretty amazing music when you stop to listen to really good mariachi. Oh my God, that music is gorgeous.
Yeah, it
And so
is.
you just need an open ear and a curious mind, and you'll start to hear some pretty amazing things.
If you step out of your, it's like when I first heard bluegrass music, I didn't have a clue. It would never have been something I would have sought out.
It
And
was it wasn't the Beverly Hillbillies, was it?
no, it was not. And it wasn't, no. Listen to, what was that song? Listen to thing, da 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 da, move away from here. That's exactly.
That's the Ballad of Jed Clampett,
Jed Clampett.
written by Earl Scruggs.
Did he write that? And then I love it so much. Now I love it. I mean, my kids have been listening to it since 1992. That's when that it all started. And we just went absolutely crazy. And now their kids listen to it and their friends listen to it and their friends' kids listen to it. And that's why I give you, and I talk about people like Peter Rowan and David Grisman. And I mean, these guys were like kind of my age. And I was listening to Cross Over the Bridge. I mean, I was listening to all that kind of music and they got it so early on.
Bela Fleck, probably the greatest living banjo player, maybe probably the greatest banjo
Ever.
player of all time. He's got no roots whatsoever in bluegrass or any kind of country music. I mean, going to the country for him was Riverside Park. Um, so where did he get it?
Where did he get it? Didn't his grandfather give him a
Beverly
banjo or
The Beverly Hillbillies.
no?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
We heard the theme song to the TV show and it just lit a fire under him. That's how it started. And then his grandfather gave him a banjo. So, you know,
On purpose? Because he liked that music?
oh yeah, yeah, from a garage sale or uh, what do you call it?
Um,
Flea market or something like that.
yeah, yeah.
And Bela and his family were visiting his grandfather in, I think, in Peekskill. They were up from the city. Uh, and so Bela took this banjo home, and on the train ride home, there was a guy who spotted it, and he asked Bela, "Do you play?" And Bela said, "No, not yet." And he said, "Here, let me tune it for you," and that's what he did.
Wow.
So it's
That's big.
yeah, it's
What else
really
would he could have been just hitting notes and oh my gosh.
and what most people don't know about Bela is he is a superb guitarist.
Is he?
He,
Of
oh
course.
yeah, oh yeah, and plays mandolin. Um, he, I mean, I can honestly say I have known a genius, a prodigy.
How does he what does he exhibit beside the fact that he plays? Is it his intensity? Is it his commitment to it? How can you tell in him? You know what I mean?
I
He's not
understand.
casual about it.
I think it's both. He is uh, his commitment is total. I mean, it is what he wanted to do, and he set out to do it, and he's done it. And uh, because of his intensity, all it not all it one of the things it does is opens many, many, many doors for him about ideas and other things to consider while playing the banjo. Uh, I mean, it's 100% commitment to him. Uh, he has such a profound respect for the music and for the instrument, and he has no patience for people whose commitment to it is casual. Now, I got to qualify that. I mean, I'm talking about professional musicians. If Bela is playing with a professional who is not as committed to the music as he is, he's going to let them know. He's very polite, but he's also very forthright. And if you're going to play, hello, Rosie.
Rosie. Rosie, come here. Shh. Oh no, come on. But he plays in so many venues. I mean, in so many different. I'm sorry about this. One second. I'm sorry. We'll take a break. I never did that before. I'm sorry. Okay. All is good. That was my neighbor who lent me an apron. And he has to go to work as a waiter. So he wanted his apron for the night.
Yeah.
So
Bela and his commitment.
we were talking about him and his commitment, but you played with him when he was young, right?
He was 15 at the time, and he was just starting out on banjo. And through a whole series of circumstances, uh, we got together. It was Bela and Pat Flory, who is, uh, I think Pat is a national treasure that no one will ever know of. Ezra Black, who was a guitar player, and David Forbes, mandolin player, and then incomparable Marty Laster, who played fiddle, and his commitment to the music was every bit as great as Bela's. And the thing about Marty was he was such a gentle soul, and one of the kindest people you would ever meet. And so watching the two of them share ideas, it was magic. It really was magic.
Learn so much so fast.
Say that again, please.
How did he learn? How did Bela learn so much? I mean, 14 or 15. I mean, he was a genius. I mean, like you say.
You have to ask Bela that question. I can't comprehend the level of commitment that he made, nor the drive. I mean, when he met Pat Flory and started hanging out with him, Pat is a multi instrumentalist and singer from New Iberia, Louisiana, who was in New York studying architecture at Columbia, and they met. I believe it was one of the coffee houses at Columbia, and started hanging out together. And Pat was able to show Bela a few things on the banjo, and then gave him an Earl Flatten Scruggs record, and told him, you should learn these songs. Well, a week later they got together, and Bela said, "I want to join your band."
And everyone took this 14, 15-year-old boy seriously.
No, actually, not at first, because after a week you don't learn how to play banjo. But after a week, he could play every song on that album.
Oh, really?
Right. Yeah.
By listening to it.
Listening and trying it out, figuring it out. And I've seen him do it. I saw him borrow a fiddle from Marty Laster at rehearsal once. He said he wanted to learn how to play fiddle, and so Marty said, "Yeah, I'll give you a fiddle." A week later, he came back to rehearsal and he was playing that thing. I mean, it was amazing. I told him if he ever picked up a harmonica, I would jam it down his throat
Yeah,
because
right. That was not going to happen.
that's not going to happen. And for all I know, he can probably play it. It's and it's so much fun to watch him explore the instrument. You know, he always seems to approach it like a mystery that he's just got to understand. And but the point I was trying to make before was that Baylor can be a real stern taskmaster when playing with professional musicians, and he doesn't suffer uh, laziness at all. But when he's playing with amateurs, he's the most encouraging and accepting kind of guy you'd ever want to meet. I mean, if you have any doubts about playing the guitar, talk to Baylor. He'll set you straight. He'll get you to open your heart to what's really going on in the music. So to him, there's two different classes of musicians. They're not the same. They're doing the same thing, but there's the element of occupation and professionalism that is a very, very stern taskmaster and judge, and I think that's part of the reason why Baylor succeeds the way he does. He only surrounds himself with musicians who are as good as him or better. I mean, he played with Howard Levy. He plays with Howard Levy, the harmonica player. I don't think Howard Levy's ever played a bad note.
Oh my gosh.
I took his. I'd been playing, at the time about 45 years, and I signed up online to take his online courses, and I decided to start at the beginner level, just to
Really?
just to see how he would teach things. And I swear, from day one, I was learning new things. And when I got to the more advanced stuff, I had a hard time. I mean, this guy, he 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 can do things that you have to be so committed to knowing that instrument if you're going to play them. And that's what Bale is like, and Victor Wooten, and all those Flecktones guys. They're breathing where the oxygen is very thin, and it's really kind of amazing. Uh, I called up Howard Levy once, uh, and I asked him, "Can you play Joy Spring on a diatonic harmonica?" And he said, "Yeah, but it'd be pretty hard." And he picked up a harmonica and played some for me.
Uh-huh.
I was amazed. I didn't think it could be technically. I didn't think it could be done, and never thought that it could be done so beautifully.
And improvisationally, just pick it up.
Yep. Now, the harmonica is an interesting instrument. A lot of people don't take it seriously. They think it's a toy. It's not. It's a musical instrument. And what I like to tell people is it's a very easy instrument to play, but it's a very difficult instrument to play well. And it takes years of work
Does it?
to, to get a really good sound out of a harmonica. And it's difficult to teach somebody how to play it well because I don't think any two people play it the same way. Really don't.
Where does it come from?
The harmonica, it comes in a little cardboard box. It's a German instrument.
Is it?
And yeah, it's and I thought I knew a lot about its history, and just recently I've discovered I know practically nothing about the history of the harmonica. And right about now, the past, I'd say, 15 years, there have been, or 20 years, there have been breakthroughs in harmonica design, manufacturing, and tuning that have really, it's completely changed the instrument. Um, there are things that I couldn't ever do before I can do now on some harmonicas because of the way they're tuned and the way that the reeds are gapped so that you can bend notes a certain way. And whoever invented these things, I say, God bless you. I can finally hit that note.
Mm. So you start, that's your instrument.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
And who would your god be? Harmonica. Harold Levy?
No, no, Paul Butterfield.
Oh, where did you hear him first time?
Uh, I went to a concert at the Forest Hills Tennis Stadium in 1968, and he was on the bill with Blood, Sweat, and Tears, which was that was a really good band, by the way.
Yeah,
That was a really good band. But when Butterfield uh, played, um,
by
I
himself.
needed diapers. Oh no, he had a band.
Oh, he had a band.
Yeah, he had Elvin Bishop and Sam Lay, and yeah, it was a good band. But as soon as I heard how he was playing that harmonica, it was instantaneous. I have to do that. I have to do that. And so I went and bought a harmonica and the Paul Butterfield album and
There you
uh,
go.
banged my head against the wall till I finally figured it out. And I got to meet him a year later uh, at the Forest Hills Tennis Stadium.
Really?
I was backstage as a reporter for WQMC Radio, Queens College Radio.
Right.
And so I talked my way backstage and got press passes, and I did not know what the fuck I was
Yeah.
talking about. I approached Janis Joplin to ask her if I could do an interview with her, and she had a rather unpleasant way of saying no to me. And uh,
Just
Paul Butterfield was off to the side, and when I finally stanched the flow of blood, uh, he came over to me and said, "Oh, you want to talk?" And I said, yeah.
oh wow.
And we talked for about an hour, and he invited me down to a recording session. Uh, it was somewhere in Manhattan. I think it might have been Electric Ladyland, and uh, the advice he gave me about playing was absolutely spot on, and he was really nice, just a down to earth guy, no attitude, um, uh, and was really happy that you know he seemed like he was happy that I was
We're so interested.
so interested in learning how to do it right. And although it just occurred to me, it's only recently that I learned that he played the harmonica upside down, which means he's playing it backwards. And I didn't notice that at the time that he was teaching me how to do things.
And you learned upside down.
No, no,
I wonder
no.
why. That's kind of interesting.
I Yeah, I wonder about it. To me, he's a national treasure that will not ever be recognized as one. But in my little world,
Right.
there are two songs that he recorded uh, with his band with the horns, the big horn section. He recorded, I believe, in 1970 at the Troubadour in LA, a live album. Two songs, Driftin' and Driftin' and Everything is Going to Be All Right. And I don't think a week goes by where I don't play them to just listen to what he's doing. And
Everything's going to be all right. Is that, and it's all right? Is it that song?
no,
Wow.
no, no.
I'm going to look it up.
Let's see. Let's see.
Maybe we can
Oh,
listen.
wait.
What?
I, I got it right here.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. Let's see. Hey, cut it out.
What?
It's
Okay.
I have a an Apple
Right.
AirBook, and it's very slow when I'm trying to do something, and Zoom is on.
Oh, right. Well, okay. I'm just going to look up Paul Butterfield. Paul Butterfield Blues. Wow. The Paul Butterfield Band. Wow, this is, I'm just going to play something. There he is, Crazy
Yeah.
Mama, Amazing Grace, An Offer You Can't Refuse. Oh, look at him. Oh, wow. All right.
Now,
I got to listen to that. I mean,
yes,
I have to spend time with that.
yes, you do.
Yeah.
Now, to this day, I still remember uh, some of the advice he gave me. One piece of advice in particular, which really did affect my playing, is that he said that I was playing too hard. I was blowing too hard. Um, he said you got to go down on it like a woman.
You said, okay,
Okay,
I
I
got
said
that.
all right, but
Okay.
I'm 17 years old. Like I know know what he's talking about. So here
You're
we go.
like Layla. I mean, you were 17 years old.
Now listen to this right here. Double stop, like a horn.
I can see where that would inspire you.
It got me.
Yeah. It'd
And
be
then,
pretty hard to duplicate, but you can try.
and the thing is, he does not play it like a harmonica. He plays it like a horn. And
That's how I, yeah.
when I figured that out, I said,
Like a ship out
"Here's the other
on
one."
the sea. Every now and then I wonder if you'll ever think of me.
Okay, here comes the solo.
You'll ever think of me.
this solo is so full of the It's
Boy.
it's pretty amazing stuff. Now, the whole time was listening to Paul Butterfield, I uh, also fell in love with Taj Mahal,
Oh.
and that happened at a Paul Butterfield concert, where at the Fillmore East, the bill was Taj Mahal, Paul Butterfield, and BB King. $3.50.
Oh my gosh.
Boy, am I dating myself? I mean, it's
They must have enjoyed being together like that. Oh my
yeah.
gosh.
Oh, it 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 was pretty damn amazing. And so now Taj Mahal, a lot of what he does is country blues, not urban blues. And uh, hearing that style, so well, all right, there's now two ways that I can try to play this thing. And let me. I'm trying to find one song in particular that only a Taj Mahal freak would appreciate this song, because it was not by any means one of his big songs. But
I
um,
wonder if a lot of people listening, know about Taj Mahal. I mean, people of our generation would.
yeah, not enough. I've met him several times, and
Um,
he's a character. He's a really nice guy, um, and another one who doesn't suffer fools, which I
That's
think
the
is,
impression I always got of him.
well, you got to be that way if you're going to be a professional
I
musician.
think so.
It's a nasty, nasty, nasty business, um, and you know, if you're going to be a musician, you got to expect there's going to be somebody out there who's trying to rip you off. Uh, it's just the way it is, and I'm going through my 25,000 plus songs here, trying to find one in particular. Uh, Here again, get close.
But you're free thinking. Like if it's good music, you like it. I watched a movie called Crossing Rachmaninoff about a
No,
young pianist, and I've never seen anything like it. The music was like dripping out of my TV. It was so beautiful.
Crossing Rachmaninoff.
Yes,
I got to look for that.
you have to. I've never seen music portrayed like this. And to think that my television could make it sound that good
Well, look, I am convinced that there is so much good music around us all the time
all the time.
that we're just not hearing it. We're just not hearing it, uh, and it's really unfortunate. Come on, why can't you know? Apple has really fucked up a good thing.
Well, they
I
invented it kind of. I mean, they put us there.
Yeah, it's
How often do you get to play the harmonica?
now not very much.
Right.
Uh, when I moved back to New York, I thought it was going to be easy for me to
Find gigs and
people that I could play with, and nobody's interested. You know, the, I didn't think it would be as bad as it was in California, and it's worse. It's even more cliquish than it was in California. and it, I just got really disgusted with it. You know after playing for 50 years now, and I've played with Ralph Stanley, I played with
Wow.
James Monroe, Bill Monroe's son. I played with Lester Flatt. I played with just a lot of name
Yeah,
musicians.
yeah.
You know, I know how to do it. I know how to sit in. I know how to play with other people. I I know what my role is in a group setting as a harmonica player, which is not to be playing all the time.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm very respectful of other musicians playing. I thought, surely I'm not going to have any problems finding people to play with. I was wrong. And I just got disgusted with it about 5 years ago and haven't played with anybody since then.
Well, that's
And
too
I,
bad.
I even went 2 years without even picking it up. And now I've started playing again. Um,
I
and
saw a video of you. I looked you up. And again, I mean, I haven't said it enough, but I'm talking to Michael Yonchenko. And he is, as you can tell, you're just wonderful. And your take on music and telling me that Bela at 14 was playing like in bars probably.
uh, mostly coffee houses because he couldn't
Oh,
get in,
coffee houses.
wherever he could find musicians. You should really call Bela up and do one of these with him. Uh,
It would be my honor.
if you want, I'll call him and ask him if he'll consider
I would
doing it.
love to. You know,
Okay.
when I lived in Nashville, Tim O'Brien, who's just
Hmm.
a fantastic musician and a friend, and every New Year's Day, he would invite John Hartford, Edgar Meyer, Russ Barenberg. I mean, all of them, the McCrorys, all of them. And they would sit there and Bela and Jerry Douglas. And I would just sit there. We would all just sit there and listen.
Uh huh.
John Hartford, after not very much begging, sang Gentle on My Mind. I mean, it was just, we were just unbelievable. It was for years and years, every single, and Bela was always so nice
He's a
and
nice guy.
funny and funny.
Sweetheart. Yes, he is very funny.
He
And
is
he's a
very funny.
very sweet guy. Uh, I'm very proud to call him a friend.
Oh,
I can do that. I wish I could be around him more because I know I could learn an awful lot. Um, and it's, how do I say this? My time on this planet is getting limited, and there's certain things that I'd like to do in that time, and one of them is a project with Bela of some kind. Hey, I finally found the song I was looking for.
oh, good.
This is called Bacon Fat, and it's talked about. There is not a sharp edge in this whole song.
Oh, baby. Oh, honey, why you baking fast? Oh, baby. Honey, tell daddy why you baking fast. Now, I told you once before, baby, that's for sure. I
Here
don't go
comes
for
this harmonica
that.
solo. I have to get some talking and then play.
Hey. Oh, this feels so good here this morning. It's 10 minutes past 1. You're right here, just in the groove. Grooving for y'all at the end out there in that land.
Hey, those notes.
Yeah, that's jazz. So, right here.
Mr. Davis!
So, it took me a while, but I taught myself that song note for note what he plays.
You could do that?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I recently discovered there's another way of playing it note for note on the harmonica in a different tuning. And that just kind of blew me away. You think you know your instrument, and then you discover something like that, and you feel like an amateur.
It sounds like a horn.
Yeah, he's playing it. He's playing it like an alto saxophone.
He is. It sounds like a horn. I never heard that. I would never have known that was even a harmonica. Not like you would have, though.
It's all the things they say about the harmonica is true. You can carry it around in your pocket, and you can play it whenever you want. And when I was 17, 18, 19, that's what I did. I was never without it, and that's how I learned to play. I know I drove a lot of people crazy, but I was
I
driving.
heard some of yours.
What's that?
Good. I heard some of yours. I was looking you up, and I found some of the pieces you did. And they were
What did you find of mine?
I went on, of course, Google, and
Yeah.
I looked up your name, Michael Yonchenko, and
Wanted in 3 states. Yeah.
wanted after that. They talked a lot about that. But yeah, and they played one that I thought, I can't believe what I'm listening to. It was so nice for you to do this with me.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's Michael Yonchenko, and I'm just going to tell you people very quietly is that he also has done and won awards for some of the most responsible medical media. Can I say it like that?
pretty much the only thing you can call it.
Yeah, and he was very much involved with being a patient advocate and or for patients to be their own advocates. And right now, here's a documentary from Radio Kingston. Oh, here it is, Shipwreck.
Oh no, shipwreck.
And there's a picture of you. I'm going to put this on the, but there's a picture of you and there's a song you doing, and I'm just trying to look at it right now, but it's you. You said I have my own cable, I have the harmonica, I got the mic, and yeah, this music list. Wait, I want to get it, but it was pretty cool. This is the picture.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I was playing in the Texas Embassy Blues Band in Puerto Vallarta when I was living down there.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. And
This, I'm going to say goodbye after this.
To the highway, build out and
oh,
bound
that's the Joe Alberti. Whoa, he's behind it.
here running. Walking is almost too slow. I'm going down to the border where I'm better known. You ain't doing nothing but drive a good man from my home. I got the key to the highway, pulled out and bound to go. Leave here running.
The name Shipwreck.
Too slow. Do some walking.
God,
There you are. It's like creamy.
Give me one kiss, baby.
oh boy.
Just
You
before
know, it's important for people to know that I never wanted a career in music.
I back home.
Really?
I never went for it. Never went for it.
I got the
I can't tell you how many gigs that I have played for free uh, because I did not want to get involved in the business of music. I just wanted to make music, and I didn't want uh, all the nonsense and the nastiness that goes with being a performer.
Yeah.
So I just decided I'm not doing that, and I use that as a way to, you know, create opportunities to play with other people, and sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. And playing in Mexico with the Texas Embassy Blues Band uh, was one of those opportunities, and they eventually started paying me, and it was that band was the most fun I ever had playing music.
Really?
Five top of the line musicians who the most important thing to them was to, well, for three of them, I'd say, was to get drunk and make great music. Uh, and it,
Sounds good.
uh, we just had a great time.
Yeah.
Uh, and the name Shipwreck, uh, the lead singer was also the owner of the bar. And he's good. This guy was good. And he had a mental block. He could not, on stage, he could not remember my last name. So when it came time to introduce the members of the band, he said, Michael Shipwrecksky or something like that. And that became Shipwreck. And that he could remember. So he'd always introduce me as, and on harmonica, we have Shipwreck. And it was fun. Let's see, one night a woman bit me on the shoulder on
Oh,
stage, almost punched her out. And
did.
one night I passed out on stage.
Nice.
I was. It was a case of the revenge, you know, Montezuma's
Yes.
revenge, and seems like everybody saw it coming but me. First, Leah came right up to the edge of the stage and said to me, "Are you okay?" I said, "Fine." She said, "Drink some water right now." So I turned around to drink something, and the singer leaned away from the mic and he said, "Are you okay?" And I looked at him and I said, "No." Boom! I went right
Oh
down.
my.
And I managed to get to my feet and make it into the men's room and park myself on the floor in the men's room.
Stayed there until it was over.
Oh no! Oh no! Um, I, in my stupor, I heard the band uh, kick off "Hideaway." Now, "Hideaway" was our emergency song. You know, if something happened, you could play "Hideaway" all night long and not worry about it. And I said, "Oh, I must be really sick if they're playing "Hideaway." And so I finally, Brian, the singer, and somebody from the audience who was a paramedic who was on vacation, they carried me downstairs out of the room and got me into a cab, and we went to a hospital, and I spent the night there. And uh, it, I was sick for a long time. Uh, when they say Montezuma's revenge, they mean it.
They mean it.
They really do mean it.
It's a real, it's a battle.
It really is.
It
I
is.
mean, you turn into a prune. You get so dehydrated.
Right. Right.
So,
Thank you so much for this. You
well,
want to
thank
do it
you.
again?
Anytime you want to do it again,
Yeah. Let's do it and maybe we can talk. Well, this was just ideal. But it's really interesting the work you did producing medical film. I mean, he has a career that people should know about now more than ever. And maybe we'll do that. Or maybe I was going to tell you a story you said about shipwreck, is that I heard this story that Bela was living in Nashville, and Bela is not a common name anywhere, maybe, but especially Nashville. And he had said, or someone said, that a man came into his house to do some work. And the man said, what's your name, sir? What's your name? And he said, Bela. And again, the guy goes, okay, Bill. It's like, he knew it was the name that he didn't, but he felt more comfortable saying, okay, Bill, got it. Well,
I can tell you something very funny about Bela that, he's got two kids,
yes.
and, uh, you know, both he and his wife are superb. They
Yeah.
are the banjo players.
Yeah, they're it.
His kid only wants to play golf.
Go figure. Of all
Things,
Bermuda shorts and
he has no interest in playing the banjo whatsoever.
wants to play golf.
He's like 7 years old. He's already won tournaments. I can tell it's got to be eating Bela.
It's not, because it's a whole different lifestyle. I mean, there's nothing.
It's apples and paisley. It's just
It's
it couldn't be more different.
no. All right.
Well, thank you very much.
I hate to say goodbye. This is great. We're going to do this again.
I hope so. It was an awful lot of fun, and I hope your listeners enjoyed it. And
Yeah, they will. I loved it. I loved hearing the music. It was so easy. It's the way it should be.
Yeah. And you're proof that everybody is a star.
You are.
You give me a chance.
Yeah. But I said that you just are. I mean, you're just interesting. You're just who you are sitting in a restaurant. So, all right.
All right. Thanks again.
I just loved it. Thank you, Michael.
Take care, Betty. Bye-bye.
Bye.